They don't they don't give you the answer. What do they start making for you?
A table.
So they construct the table for you. They haven't put in everything, but they've given you a bunch of it. Otis Taylor has a box of coins that he uses when he plays poker with his friends. The box currently contains 44 coins consisting of pennies, dimes, and quarters. Pennies, dimes, and quarters. The number of pennies is equal to the number of dimes, and the total value is 437. How many of each denomination of coin does the box have? So we have dimes here. What's the value there? 0. What?
10.
So it's going to be 0.10 times the number of dimes. What about quarters? 0.25. And what's that going to be? 0.25 times the quarters. Is that correct?
Yep.
Nice. Okay, and what does it say? It also tells us something about the total value. What is it?
44.
So it's not the number of coins. That's why they boxed this out here. You don't need all that, right? But the total value is what? $4.37. So if you take all three of these, what would you want to do with these three values right here? Yeah, so you know that 0.01 times P plus 0.10 times D plus 0.25 times Q, if you add them all together, what should that equal? 437. The challenge at this point is, do we have enough equations? Have we written enough equations? No. We have. How many equations do we have? One. How many variables do we have? 3. So we need at least 2 more equations. So let's look at the information to get. Oh, 44 coins. So what? Oh, we know the total. We could fill this one in. Let's fill in that box. So how many coins are there? So what do you know about P plus D plus Q? What does that equal? 44. Okay, now we have 2 equations. But how many equations do we need at minimum? 3 of them. What's the one thing we haven't used so far? It tells us something. Oh, no, that's the question. It's asking, what do we haven't used the number of pennies is equal to the number of dimes. So we know that P is equal to what? P is equal to D. So what's the first thing? What's the most useful equation right there, do you think?
The first one.
No. Well, okay. They're all equally useful overall because without any one of those 3, what's the one we can use right now? Yeah. This one, what could we do with this right now? Plug it in there and plug it in there. Yeah. So if we do this, what do I end up with? I end up with 0.01 D plus 1, not 1. 0. What? 0.10 D plus 0.025 Q is equal to 437. And then what's the next one become? D plus Q equals 44. How many equations is this right here? 2 equations. How many variables is it? How many equations are right here?
2.
How many variables? 2. There's only D's and Q's, right? 2 equations, 2 variables. Is that a good thing? Yes. Go ahead.
0.
Now, we did a couple of these before. We need to solve this. What method? What was that method called? Substitution, exactly. So what's the first thing you do with substitution? No, that's the second thing. Hannah. You have to get one of the variables by itself. Can you tell me which variable in which equation you want to isolate, Hannah?
D in the second. Actually, no.
Let's do
2.
Let's do Q in the second, because what does Q equal? Q is going to be 44 minus what? 2D. So now, Gabby, what do I do? Now I can take this, and where do I put it? In for Q. And what do I end up with? I end up with, let's write it out, 0.01D plus 0.10D plus 0.25, but instead of Q, what do I write? 44 minus 2D equals what? 437. How many equations now do I have?
1.
How many variables?
1.
Can we solve for that variable now? Yeah, you sure can. Sure, what kind of number do you expect to get for D? Nope. The same. Well, yeah, the same number. What type of number?
Non-decimal.
A non-decimal whole number, right? Because D is the number of dimes, right? So you shouldn't get like 8.3. Even though theoretically you could cut a dime up, that's no. So theoretically you should be able to solve that. Do that right now for me. Solve this right now. You can use a calculator. Go ahead, solve it. Yes. Is that going to give you a number that isn't? So, should you get any negative numbers in your final answer? No. You got to give me money. Got to go rob a bank to make this work. Please don't do that. What does it tell us? The number of dimes is equal to the number of pennies, right? So P is equal to 17, right? So Q is going to be equal to 10 because they have to add together to get 44. Now we're done. Cool. It's amazing how it came up twice today randomly. Mulder and Scully. Anybody know? I'll give you plus 10 points on your next point if you can tell me Mulder and Scully. What's that a reference to? Right now. It's on record. 10 points. Plus 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Talk to him.
Must be races.
The X-Files.
Oh, the what?
X-Files.
X-Files. TV show random names. Okay. Mulder and Scully are that was your 10 points for the day. Sorry. Are driving to Georgia to investigate Big Blue. Oh, they're even investigating. Oh, very nice. Wow. A giant reptile reported in one of the local lakes. Mulder leaves his office at 8:30 a.m., averaging 65 miles an hour. So let's start filling in this table. What is Mulder's rate? So what should we fill in on the chart? 65. Nice. Scully leaves at 9 a.m., following the same path and averaging 68 miles an hour. 68. At what time will Scully catch up with Mulder? What's the relationship between distance, rate, and time? What's the relationship? Robert. What is the relationship between distance, rate, and time? That's a noun. I need a verb somewhere in a sentence. Yes.
Rate times time equals distance.
Yes. Distance equals rate times time. Okay? Distance equals rate times. So if we have rate and time, and you're right, the reason she will catch up is because she's 3 miles an hour faster. Then that's true. But distance is rate times time. So we need to come up with time. Do they leave at the same time? No. So Mulder goes for, let's say, T for his time. But if the time is T for Mulder, what is it going to be for Scully?
T plus 2.
No. Where'd you get 2 from?
30. The difference between 65 and 68.
Well, first of all, the difference between 65 and 68 is 3, but that's not what the difference is. I'm sorry, like I had to point that out. And second of all, that's miles per hour, which is the rate, not the time. It's like, it's totally okay. I told you what one of my algebra classes asked last year, like, how long is 30 minutes? Did I tell you that story?
Yeah.
And I had to leave because I was going to cry. I was like, I have to go now. Okay. Okay. So, if Mulder has gone for T hours, 2 hours, everybody. If Mulder's gone for T hours, how long has Scully gone for?
T plus 30.
No. Is Scully driving less time or more time than Scully? No, she leaves after him.
Last time.
Less time. So what's going to be T minus?
Wow.
In hours?
Hours.
T minus 0.5. T minus a half. So, how do you figure out distance? What's the formula?
T equals
Rate times time. So what do you do to fill in the distance? It's going to be, what's it going to be right here?
What is the distance?
T times 65.
Distance is rate times time. So you have rate and you have time, so tell me what the distance is. 65T. What about Scully? 60.
7.5.
No. 68 times time. T minus a half. Distance is rate times time. Okay, so now, do we have an equation yet? No. But do we have a completed chart? Yeah, that you've done most of it here. What does it say? At what time will Scully catch Mulder? Do they leave from the same place?
Yeah.
So in order for them to catch up with one another, they have to go the same distance, right? So can you tell me what the equation is, anybody? Which two equals each other?
65T.
Bingo. 65T has to be 68 times T minus a half. Bingo. 65T equals 68t minus what? 30 what? 4.
Yeah.
So you're going to get minus 3t is equal to negative 34. So what is t going to be? Negative 34 over negative 3, which is what? 11 and what? 11 and what? 11 and
30 minutes.
Kids. We'll just-
0.3.
1/3. 1/3. There's a remainder of 1, right? So it's going to be 11 and 1/3 hours. Done. Absolutely trying to do too much at once, and also what else? Yeah.
When you see like half of the time difference, 30, I put 30 back.
30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
No, you could do this in minutes, right? It's just your answer is going to be like 600 and 600. It's going to be a lot of minutes. Just makes the numbers bigger, right? Just know your units. Exactly. Fill in the chart, know your units. Showing 3 hours to drive to her mother's house on Saturday. So where do you plug that in?
Saturday.
Time. Exactly, right? 3.5. 6, sorry. 6. On her return trip on Sunday night, traffic was heavier, so the trip took how long? 4 hours. Her average rate on Sunday was 5 miles slower than her rate on Saturday. So if the Saturday rate is R, what's her rate on Sunday?
R minus 5.
R minus 5. Exactly. Again, what is distance equal to? Rate times time. So what goes right there?
R times
3.6 times R, and what goes right here?
R minus 5.
4 times R minus 5. Yep. What do you know about the distance for each trip? So what's the equation, Chris?
The equation. So 4 times R minus 5 equals 3.6.
Correct.
50 miles an hour.
Who got R is 50?
I got 50, but the answer wouldn't 45.
Okay, so we got R is 50, right? And it says, what was her average rate on Sunday? Is that the answer? No, that's Saturday. So Sunday is 45. Nice. You want another one? Consecutive integers. Kids, if an integer is n, what's the next integer? N plus 1. What's the next one after that? N plus 2. So it says, find 3 consecutive integers. There they are. There are 3 consecutive ones, but we're not done. Such that the sum of the first and the sum of the first and twice the second is 17. So the sum of the first and twice the second is what? 17. 17 more than twice the third. Is 17 more than twice the third? It says the sum of the first and twice the second is 17 more.
So 2 times 2, n plus 2.
2 times n plus 2. This is the sum of the first and twice the second is 17 more than twice the third. How many equations is that?
2.
That's one equation. One equation. There's one equal sign. No, I understand. It's 2 statements. We use. You're done. Yeah, you can just do it right now. Solve for n. You get
Negative 15 and negative
so negative 15
negative 14.
and negative. Who got that? Okay, let's try it out, kids. We're getting a lot of skepticism from the back. Kids, everybody stand up. Everybody stand up. N plus 2n plus 2 plus 17 is equal to 2n plus 4. How many n's are right there? 3n plus 19 is equal to 2n plus 4. Subtract 2n from both sides. N plus 19 is equal to 4. So n is equal to negative 15. N is the first one, so what's the next number?
Plus 1.
There you go. There are your 3 consecutive terms right there. Negative 15, 3 consecutive integers. Negative 15, negative 14, and negative 13. Sit down, please. Zoom recording. There we go. The sum of the first, that's the first number, and twice the second is 17 more than twice the third. 17 more than twice the third. Did I make a mistake here?
Yeah, because it was 17.
Yes? Go.
Because it says is, so is that where you put the equals and like the 17 is on the other side?
No.
Why not?
Is 17 more? This thing. Oh. You're right. You're right.
Aha!
Oh,
there it is.
Is. Look, you're right. You're absolutely right. So it should be this.
This?
If you want it to be equal. If you want 2 things to be good, it has to be on the other side. You're absolutely right. Well, no, you didn't know who Mulder and Scully was. That's what I wanted to say. So absolutely right here. So where, kids, Very good. You're absolutely right. Good job. This should be, where should it be? Absolutely. So if you do that, you get n equals 19, I bet?
Yeah, 19.
Nice. So what we did, here's a question for you. By putting the 17 on the other side, we did it as is 17 less than. We kept it on the wrong side. We made the thing bigger instead of making it smaller. Yes?
Wait, so whenever there's the word is that where the equal sign goes?
Essentially, yeah. Look, but listen, is 17 more, right? So yeah, equals 17 and 50 plus. Yep. Effectively, yeah. Okay, take out a pencil, please. No pens. No.